Hey friends, Pastor Chuck here. Today I want to talk about the importance of Christian friendships. Now, there's a lot of reasons we like hanging out with our friends and talking with our friends. We enjoy their company, we share ideas, but there is a deep theological purpose that underlines Christian friendships. It's not just for enjoyment, though that's great, but there's reasons that Christian friendships are important theologically. I want to talk about that today. I want to look at the book of Hebrews for a couple minutes where this is talked about. Now, first of all, in the book of Hebrews, people are being pulled away from their faith. That's an important idea in Hebrews. I think of these like currents in the water that if you don't intend or intentionally push back against those or really stand your ground, the currents are going to pull you in a certain direction. So the current is constantly pulling you. So in the book of Hebrews, there's at least three currents. There's more than three, but at least three that are pulling the Hebrews away from Jesus Christ. First of all, there's a current to be religious but not Christian. So some are falling back to the old Judaism of which they came out of, and they're saying things like, we can just be spiritual but not be Christian, be religious but not be Christian. It's easier to drop Christ and just be spiritual and believe in the supernatural and believe in some biblical ideas and things like that. That's one current. A second current is persecution or loss. It cost a lot to hold on to your faith in the first century, especially here with the Hebrews. We're told that they have not resisted under the shedding of blood, so it's not persecution yet where people are dying. Nevertheless, there's a lot of loss taking place in the church. That's pulling people away from Christ. Number three, and I think this one plays in more than we often think, is watching our friends fall away from Christ. There's people you worship with, or maybe you used to worship with, and they're in the church. They start to pull away from Jesus, and over time, maybe even abruptly, they announce that they're no longer Christians or no longer followers of Christ, and that really shakes our soul and shakes our faith. That's happening to the Hebrews. So these three ideas, at least these three currents, are pulling people away from Jesus. And that's where the author of Hebrews talks about how do you anchor your soul in the faith, especially when you find yourself pulling away from God. And here's a great verse from Hebrews 10. Let us hold fast to the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. Let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works. And look at verse 25. Not neglecting to meet together as the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. This is the importance of Christian friendships. What does this church need to hold fast to the confession when the currents are pulling them away from Christ? I don't doubt they need preaching. Preaching's not mentioned in this verse. And I don't doubt they need prayer. They need to sing. They need to do a lot of Christian things like read their Bible. No doubt those things are important. But the author here goes to the one thing that he really wants them to do: encourage one another as you see the day approach. And we have to do it a lot. This is the theological purpose of Christian friendships. More than just enjoyment, Christian friendships here are like an antidote to falling away from Christ. And the author says we need to develop these and cultivate these and value our Christian friends because God uses them in our life in a way to help us to stay faithful to him. Theological importance of Christian friendships.